I honestly and truly believe the art can change minds and perspectives because it uses emotions, and emotions are the more true and raw thing people can experience. And because everyone knows emotions and everyone experiences emotions, art might be the more available thing for everyone to experience and understand and take something from it. And I want to make this type of art. Hello, welcome back at my YouTube channel. Today I'm gonna be painting this thing behind me. So let's go. So what is so interesting about today's topic is that it have nothing to do about this painting. And why is that? It's quite ironic actually, because the topic of my yapping today is gonna be art. And why do we need art? Why is it so important for some people? Is it actually important? Is there just waste of time? Why do we need art? Do we actually need art? Yeah, and it's ironic because this painting have absolutely no meaning. It's done just for fun, from based on like some Pinterest photo, because I thought it looked cool. And here we are. I wanted to practice my painting portrait skills, so that's why I chose this. But actually, it turned out that I focus more on hands, and I think they look incredibly good here. But yeah, that's it. Let's go back to the topic. So yeah, if someone mentioned art, we can find two really different perspectives on that topic. One perspective are people who absolutely don't understand art, think it's useless, doesn't make sense, and is waste of time. And another group of people who think that art is the more important thing on earth, that it's really important, really meaningful, that everything is based of art, and that art can change and save the world. And if you ask me, I agree with both of this perspective, but at different points. So starting from people in perspective of why people hate art. And is it actually useless? And yeah, if we compare art to professions like doctor, nurse, or firefighter, we might have realized that yeah, art is quite useless, because people in that profession, they do something, you see the results. They save a person, you see the results. They're really incredibly important and meaningful. And now they do something, you see the results. They're doing something incredibly important, and I can argue with that, and I don't even want to argue with that. That's a really strong point. But I have a feeling that these people see art really from the really base level, but not really base level, and see art just like this painting. It doesn't have a meaning. It just look pretty, make some people happy while doing this, and that's it. And that's right. For some art, this is the whole point. Just have fun, make it pretty, and doesn't care about meaning at all. This is one way of pursuing art. But I believe that there is a different type of art, which is not it, but that there is a type of art which have meaning. And someone actually thought about this. And artists can actually do something, maybe not as important as saving lives, but important maybe in a different aspect, because these people, firefighters, doctors, save people physically. Artists kind of save people's souls or minds. That sounds really weird, but yeah. What I wanted to say more. So basically, artists are kind of savers of souls, of minds, of perspective. Yeah, and sometimes I doubt myself that, yeah, art is not something so meaningful. That maybe I should do something more important, maybe I should do something more physical, maybe I should actually start not only thinking, but like using this into doing something physical, something, I don't know, an app, or like, you know, use all my creativity into something different in art. And I believe we need people who use their creativity for that, but I believe that we need as well people who think, share their thoughts, write poetry, books, create art, make films, music, paintings, and use it differently to make something not important on the same level, because these two things are completely different, but something that might be helpful for some people. Because when we realize how much art is surrounding us, that actually every single day you consume art at some point. Is it the art you have seen in the poster, in the TV, or in your Instagram, YouTube, whenever? Is it a video from YouTube? Is it the film you have just seen in the cinema, or the serial you have watched on your streaming platform? Is it somebody who have taken a photo in the ballet, for example, or the clothes you're wearing, or the photo shoots people have done to show you these clothes, or just the packaging of your new milk? All of these things are less or more connected to art and to the creativity. And when we look at this, I actually quite what? I actually think that many of these people who don't like art, don't think about art much, and maybe even hate art in the sense of what I have said that it's useless and stuff. They might think they don't need it, but they consume it. They consume videos, films, books, music. I believe like many people don't watch films, read books, blah blah blah. But like music is something which I believe most people like, at least a little bit. And music is, I think, one of the best example if we speak about art. That music is surrounding us, and even if you don't like music, you will hear a music somewhere. Is it the mall? Is it your grocery shop? Is it your taxi? You will hear music, and music is art. Where people describe their experience, feelings, and thoughts in an artistic way by voice and instruments. And yes, is it that important as firefighters? Yes and no, in a different way, obviously. Because artists most of the time doesn't do anything physical. Maybe except painters or sculpturists? People who make sculptures. Or like physical DIY art, crocheting, that's physical. But other artists doesn't do anything physical. So it's not that. I think people have a thing about touching things that you can see and feel that something is happening. But when something is happening in your mind, people kind of don't believe it exists. It's similar with psychologists. It's similar with psychologists that some people don't believe that it works or have anything to do or change in you actually, because they can see this physically. But it does have an impact, and it is the same with art. Not this art with meaning. When somebody thought about something, got an idea that it might be interesting, I want to share this thought with other people to make them feel something, make them skeptical about something, or make them think or feel in a certain way. And it's beautiful. Actually, the best feelings I get is when I experience incredibly good art. When I read an absolutely amazing book. I'm just reading this and I cannot believe my eyes that somebody have thought about something so deep, so meaningful, something that touched me so deeply in me that I just physically can't stand of not reading this or not thinking about this and being like, I'm so jealous that it's you, not me, who created this. Yeah, as well with music, sometimes I listen to something and I'm like, that's just genius. That's genius. And this is the art I love and I will die for. This is that type of love, the type of art I really want to make. And I want to use my ability of drawing in my mind, of creativity, to make people think. And because I do believe, for example, that scientists are really, really important. And I even thought about being a scientist or at some point, that it would be cool. You have, you do a lot of work. Also with your creativity in a different way, obviously. With your mind, the way you think, you need to calculate all these things and find out a solution or like answer on like really complicated topics and stuff. That's incredibly fascinating. But when I ask myself a question like, how many people read this experience they have done, and how many people will actually learn something from this? Yeah, definitely other scientists and people who are interested in this, but it will not go to mainstream. Something which will go mainstream is art. And I think that might be a solution of making science and knowledge more available for everyone, to make it deeply connecting with your emotions, almost shocking, because I believe that when you experience something, that you experience really big emotions that stay with you more than reading an article about, for example, trauma. When you experience a movie, when you watch a movie about something having trauma or traumatic experience and having to deal with all the things, all the phases of how to be or how to have, for example, PTSD, you feel it, you understand it more than when you have just read an article about this. Both of these things are really important, but when you do good art based on the science, or like according to science, that's a masterpiece. Because this is making a noise. Can you not make a noise? I think I don't need to, I cannot move it. I put it here and it fell behind my door, my bed, not my door, what the fuck, behind my bed. So going back to the topic, I honestly and truly believe the art can change minds and perspectives, because it uses emotions, and emotions are the more true and raw thing people can experience. And because everyone knows emotions and everyone experiences emotions, art might be the more available thing for everyone to experience and understand and take something from it. And I want to make this type of art that touch and leave with something. And I'm actually making this art. Not this one. This one is for fun. And it's okay, because we can have two types of art. The type of art you like, you put on your wall, some abstract art, and you're like, that's cool, it looks cool, match my apartment, flat or whenever, I like the colors, the shapes, and blah blah blah. And you can have art which is more meaningful, like this one. I'm gonna make a video also about this, so wait for it. It's not gonna get, oh yeah, okay, wait, is it straight? Hopefully it is. So yeah, do we need art in physical world? No, but I believe the art saves souls, is a food for souls, for mind. That if you feed your mind with good art, this might change you as a human, to become more mindful, change your perspective, or challenge your perspective, to come with different conclusions or new conclusions that you could probably never think of, because you've never been in a situation like this. But I can put you into this without actually you being in a situation. You can experience something really hard and traumatic through art without actually being in that position. That's cool, you know? That's really fucking cool. Because we learn through emotions For example, when we read, okay, I haven't checked this information, so like, don't quote me on that. But like, I know there was a research about when you read, your mind doesn't sense between your own experiencing and you reading about experiencing something, that it's basically the same thing. So when you read about something, your mind experiences this as your own experience, so you can learn through it, adapt by this to different and certain type of situations and emotions, that if you're gonna be put into a situation like this, you might understand yourself better, but also other people. And yeah, you can read psychologist books, science researches, documents and articles, and you're gonna have knowledge. But emotions are something which actually change you. And that's why I think art is so cool. Yeah, it's hard to make good art. It's really hard to actually make something which is able to make somebody feel something. But when it does, it's incredible. It's a masterpiece. Long loved masterpiece. I think we all know a certain songs which are timeless. They're never gonna die. Everyone loves them. Everyone have heard them, and they're gonna be alive after our death. And people are gonna still listen to this, go back and be like, that's incredible. How could somebody even think about something so freaking good? And same with classic books, movies, poems. When something is good, something is timeless. If the message is timeless, that's a masterpiece. And it's really hard to make a masterpiece. But I believe that if with people who think they hate art or don't like art, when they see this timeless song or this timeless movie, they actually really enjoy it and they like it, you know. And if we're gonna tell them about this and compare, for example, abstract art with this timeless song, they're not gonna say that this timeless song is useless. But this abstract painting, they might say it is. I mean, I'm not a big fan of abstract art, but I get it a little bit. Like, in abstract art, there's a lot of meaning you need to put behind it by describing it, and this is something which I don't like. I like art which is so easy that you don't need to have any fucking background in any art history to understand this and be like, I get it. There's a one painting, maybe I'm gonna put it here, which is just simple, like a navy blue, oh, I don't remember the name of the blue, but it's blue. It's like blue canva, and you might look at this and be like, I can do it. And yeah, you can, but it's about the time when this was so expensive and the history behind this blue, of how hard it was to create this, how expensive it was. Today, this blue, when we see this in paintings, it's incredible. This color is really beautiful. But if you don't know this, it's just a blue painting. And yeah, that definitely have a statement. Not every abstract art in my opinion, half a statement. But I definitely appreciate more art which is available and accessible for everyone, that everyone can look at this and be like, I like it, I can see the meaning behind this, I can look at this and try to think what this might mean. And this is the art I love the most, because obviously I love people who knows art, who can connect the artist with the art and the history of what they were doing in life, have to impact how this have impact their art, and also, for example, how the history of the time they were living impact their art. That's incredible. That's incredible. And if this makes this art even more meaningful, and like get to the deeper point of how many layers this art have, that's incredible. But like, if without this you cannot interpret art, I see an issue here, because that's not my favorite type of art. I believe the best art is when you can just look at art and be, I know what he meant. And if you learn about this, you are like, I know even more what you meant. I'm like, oh my god, that's so cool. And also, I think it's really interesting how people perceive art and how artists perceive their art. And something which always really bothered me about school is that, especially in the system I am learning, that we have a really strict rules of how you need to interpret a poem or a book or a painting, which is weird, because art is completely opposite of these rules, that this have one meaning. It's not. Art is, the whole point of art is that everyone can interpret this and it will be right. That's why I hate this type of thinking, that there's only one interpretation of this is the correct interpretation. Like, no. Like, have you like, if it is, ask the artist. You haven't asked the artist because they're deaf. Not deaf. You cannot ask the artist because they're dead. And sometimes, like, it's not even accurate with what artists wanted to say, and someone just thought about this and put this and be like, yeah, this is the interpretation you need to know, and this is the only one correct. And the artist is like, but it's not what I meant. Or like, I don't want you to tell them what they need to think of about my art. And some artists, like xoxo said in his interviews that, in his opinion, his art is meaningless, that it doesn't mean anything. When we look at his art, I think most people would say like, this is really meaningful. This is really, really meaningful. But I love the idea that he's not putting any like deep ideas into his painting. It's just like, look at this and feel. It doesn't have meaning if you feel something good. You know, because it's like, he paint what he sees in his brain somehow, and like, things he have in his brain doesn't have a meaning. They're just photos, they're just paintings, they're just visual representation of something which he paints. And we then can see this and be like, oh well, that definitely has some meaning. But I get the point why he haven't, for example, title his works or paintings. It's just like, that's it. There's nothing more. There's not this being pathetic about, oh my god, this has such a deep meaning. But like, some art communities are like this, that, you know, I have been studying art for years, and I know every single alive and deaf artist, and I have study this and know everything, and I appreciate that. I think you're incredible, because you can see actually maybe a little bit deeper because of the background of history and the life of history of the artist. But it doesn't make your opinion more valuable than someone who doesn't study art and they have a thought about this art or this painting, this music, this something, you know. And I think it's really interesting that Zdzisław Beksiński doesn't put any meaning into his paintings when we clearly can say that they are meaningful. While people who are abstract artists, I'm not gonna put any photo here, but like abstract artists who just paint something with some random colors and they create a whole story into this. That, you know, this blue and pink inspired me into, you know, this painting is describing a scene of being awake after a dark time, and you wake up, open your eyes, and you see this pink and yellow, and this is exactly what I meant while I was painting this. How could you not see this? Well, yeah, that's interesting. I somehow couldn't. Like, if you describe it that way, I kind of see this now. And anyway, we have this two perspective of how artist works, that some doesn't think their art is meaningful, and some people who, how is it called? Make this their quite simple quite simple work feel like they're made something incredible, you know. And both of this perspective are cool. I don't know which one I prefer. I think I'm gonna go with Zdzisław Beksiński. But yes, I think we should maybe be somewhere in the middle, because both of this perspective are quite extreme. In conclusion, I love art. I do believe the art can be meaningful, but I don't think all art is meaningful, and I don't think that we should expect all art to be meaningful. I think some art should not have any sense at all and just be a way of expressing yourself in a creative way that you just can take crayons and be free, do whatever you want without thinking too much about this, that you need to make it incredibly good or good looking. You can just take it and enjoy the moment. That's beautiful and I love it. You can just be present in the moment and do something with your hands. But on the other hand, I do believe, and I could tell you some examples of incredible art which changed me, which make me who I am today. And that's why I think that art is actually important. Maybe not for everyone, and definitely not in every aspect of your life, but I think that art can help in some way to have a little bit better and maybe happier life. So yeah, this is it from the whole do we need art Thank you for listening to my yapping. I bet it was an experience. Yeah, thank you, and I hope you enjoy my yapping and also process of painting this, because I truly really like it. Okay, so like, bye, love you so much. Send a huge hug to you and have a nice day.